Alrighty friends, and welcome back to Path of Exile for our day 4 update. So yesterday we made quite a bit of progress as far as the build goes, both defensively and offensively. We also took down Shaper and did quite a few Catarina fights. Now we started off the day yesterday doing essence farming, and that's because we needed to finish up our new staff and our boots. We didn't finish the boots, but we did finish our staff, and so this is what our staff now looks like. So we had the fracture damage over time multi staff yesterday, and we hit it with the minion deafening essence of fear until we got +1 level of socketed gems. So we wanted +1 level of socketed gems and an empty prefix so that we could craft on +2 level of socketed support gems. What this does is our empower goes from level 2 to level 5. As soon as we level that up one more time, it'll be a level 6 empower, which will be incredible. So our corrupting fever is now level 29 effectively. So obviously a huge boost there. Now the downside is we now have a life cost of 3,444, which means we absolutely had to go for tireless over here. So we now have 4,000 life unreserved, and we have tireless, which is reducing the life cost of corrupting fever. Now right now we've done this by reducing the duration, because we're not getting a ton out of duration with corrupting fever as opposed to corrupting cry. So corrupting fever has debuff lasts 1.25 seconds, and Blade Fall of Charthus hits every 0.58 seconds. So as long as we're within range of the boss, we don't have to worry about it too much. And if we get out of the range of the boss, it really doesn't matter, because we're probably not going to re-engage before a 1.25 second cooldown goes off. So it's not that big a deal. It does mean that we have possibly more ramp during fights if we go through and get disengaged continually. But it's something that we can recover from. We also grabbed a Oriath's End, which is going to help with our clear immensely, so we've been doing that. The other things that we did, we anointed Replica Dragon Fangs with Acrimony, which is this node right here. It's just dot multi. We fixed our implicits on our gloves, boots, and chest and helmet. On the helmet, minion increased movement speed doesn't do anything for us, so we'll need to redo that one. But we have Phys taken as cold here, we have Phys taken as cold here, and then we have recovery rate of travel skills, which we'll talk about in a second, movement speed, and then damage over time multi. There is no really good prefix for gloves for us, like the only useful one. There is no really good prefix for gloves for us. The only really useful one is suppress, but because we're not investing into suppress at all, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have 5% suppress to me. We actually kind of need to redo our belt at some point, and yeah, that I think pretty much covers it. Oh, we also did quality on our Circle of Guilt, so increased physical modifiers increases the physical damage while affected, so we went ahead and did that. I think that covers it from that end. The other thing we did is we are incorporating Reap into the build, so now that we have a 6-socketed staff and corrupting fever can only realistically have 5 links, we added Reap because Reap benefits from all of the same things that corrupting fever does. So we now have Reap as an additional source of single target, and most importantly Val Reap, which is a much bigger source of single target damage. So adding this into a boss fight is very helpful, and we'll take a look at that damage in just a minute. The other thing that we're doing, and I talked about a little bit earlier, we did the cooldown recovery rate of travel skills here. So now that we have Oriath's End, we took out Blade Blast entirely, and so we're using Phase Run instead. So we have Phase Run here with automation support, and we'll be using that and trying to get that as close to 100% uptime as possible. One way that we can do that pretty easily is by moving stuff around a little bit. So if we take out casting damage taken, Molten Shell, and put Molten Shell on automation instead, we can save ourselves a slot and then put in more duration support here. have 100% uptime pretty easily. I don't think I love that solution because I really like having Molten Shell on cast when damage taken, but I don't know. I think I might have to cave on that one because we have so much socket pressure. We will see. The other thing we did is we added in discipline. So we were trying to find other ways that we can have more recovery in our build. And someone mentioned adding in Watcher's Eye for energy shield regen. So we looked for Watcher's Eye with energy shield regen, and we found one that had both the regen node for discipline and the increased physical damage while using pride. So this is a really good Watcher's Eye for us. The grace does nothing, but that's fine. Energy shield regen and physical damage while using pride is kind of huge. So we figured out a way to fit in discipline, and we can do that in a couple ways. The first way was got a Trothus gem. Runegraft of Treachery gives us a huge amount of reservation efficiency, which is awesome for us, and it also makes our auras that affect allies also affect enemies. So going through and thinking about what auras we have that affect allies, we have only a couple really. We have Determination, but armor does nothing against our physical damage over time debuff. We have Vitality, but that is a flat life regeneration, which is not going to put any kind of realistic dent in the damage that we're doing. After that, we have Pride, but that's not an aura that affects allies. And Herald of Purity does not affect allies. And the last one is Discipline itself, which just gives energy shield, flat energy shield to our allies, and a flat energy shield bonus is also not going to matter to our enemies. So all good things there. Runegraft of Treachery is absolutely worth it. The other one we did, and this is not for reservation because that rune gave us enough room to add in discipline with all of our other reservation efficiency. So we did that, and we now have 60 mana, which is enough to do everything we need it to do, specifically summoning all our golems and vulnerability. Frostblink now is on life tap. This is more a function of being able to fit everything in. So we removed increased AoE from Bladefall, which makes the AoE a little smaller. But again, we're starved for sockets, so I think it's worth losing that to fit in Discipline. And then the last thing we did is we added Runegraft of the Fortress. Now, Runegraft of the Fortress reduces our attributes by 10%. We're not stacking attributes, so that doesn't matter a ton. It does make a difference in getting dexterity. So we need to add in dexterity in a couple places in our build because we have, of course, Phase Run and Swift Affliction that we need to support. And so in order to support those, we're going to need more dexterity. This means that I'm probably going to use a dexterity essence when I recraft my gloves. Just to get a big source of dexterity over there. So we have 10% reduced attributes, and in return we get 40% increased global defenses, which I think is absolutely worth it, because that is armor and ES that is being added in. And so we're now at over 3000 ES, and with no flasks going, we are at 24,000 armor. That is with our golem, but we should have that pretty often. So yeah, that's about where the build sits. I don't know if I'm going to end up switching caster damage taken over. It does save us a lot and can get us to it and permanent uptime on Phase Run. But I have hesitations. You know what? We'll test it today. We'll test it today and see how it works. And I'll let you guys know. Okay, so you can see that now And with just that, our phase run is very, very close to being 100% up. Specifically, it is 2.8 seconds with a cooldown time of 3.6, so less than a second of downtime. So probably like 80% uptime. Yeah, so now the build is basically just run through, and unless it is a fairly tanky rare, we're pretty good to just run through everything. Yeah, it looks like we do need more duration on our phase run. It's not up as much as I want it to be. All right. Oh, right. Our discipline is also only level 8 now. Still a lot of room to improve there. Alright, so switching over to POB, this is kind of what we are looking at. So we hit 1,000,000 damage with our Corrupting Fever. Again, same configurations as always. Is the enemy shocked? Yes. Is Pride Aura maxed? Yes. Over on the tree, this is exactly what we have. Now, one thing to note is that this tree is off a little bit. Runegrafts Treachery is here as far as the words go, but the actual effect is not put in. Okay, so I think, yeah, this is now pretty close to correct. So you can see now that we have 3200 ES, we have 59 mana. PoE says 60, so it's really this is pretty close to where we're at. A little bit of an increase for hit pool, but most importantly, we vastly improved our damage from yesterday. All right, I think I've covered everything. In the background, I'm gonna have a quick Catarina fight. This is just to show off how much the clear has improved with our running through these packs. Now, it is of note that this is before we added phase run and before we added discipline, so some of those defenses and the movement abilities are missing. But yeah, that's kind of what it looks like today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope your league start is going incredibly well. If you want to follow along with this build, be sure to hit subscribe. If you want to see what's going on with this build live, I'll be going live in just a little while after posting this video. And then after today, we'll be going back to my regular schedule because I have to go back to regular life things, which is Wednesday nights and Saturday afternoons is when I stream regularly. And we'll be working on this build and other builds going forward. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.